Tune in and turn up your radio. It's all turn up your speakers and let them ball. We on right there. You already heard about it. Fragile friends, y'all still a next. Got some types. Pick up your phone and call. So real, talking about facts and new letters. Oh, it's so deep, you gon' need a rush to make sure you stay slow. So baby, don't you change that stage. Give me your pockets to be the thing you make it. It don't matter what you're doing, just save it. And get back to it later. Later. And you can get some others later. Cause we already know. Yo, tuned in one night, man. Appreciate that, man. That was real. Hey, real recognize real is a G-Law. Always be yourself, never be a fraud. Life is up and down, call it seesaw. Stay woke, you alarm, ring a nigga alarm. Friend, chill up, feeling that thing better. Bring from pure chocolate, dip the vanilla. Caught up in the rain under your umbrella. I'll truck the house from the roof to the cellar. That's why I gotta tune in. When you're on camera, I hope they zoom in. So many shows on your liver fools in. I'm around, they addicted to you go in. Cause real, always turned up so they back and just chill. Ain't thinking about drama, ain't thinking about bills. Unnatural.
Hey.
Real recognize real.
Real recognize real, y'all.
All day.
And we had Franchella and Tony. Happy birthday, Tony. This is Franchella's husband for all those who don't
Thank
know.
you.
Real recognize real. They're streaming live with us today. I'm having a little technical difficulty, so bear with us, but it's going to be a great show nonetheless. But they're streaming live with us from the MIA, Miami, Florida. And where you at, Franchella? Tell them.
Yes, girl. We are here at the Versace Mansion. We doing a redo of my baby 50th birthday celebration that got canceled due to COVID. So we out in Miami and we're just doing it big. And I'm so excited. We flew in today. And of course, I couldn't miss the show. And I just wanted to take you guys on a little bit of tour. If you can see some of the things, I'm not sure how is the lighting and everything like that. But right here, and I'm gonna have to turn it around, right? I don't think I have a. I'm trying to figure out how I can turn my camera around.
Yeah, you got the thing in the bottom right corner. It's like a circle. No,
nope. I don't have that. I don't want to mess nothing up. I don't want to mess nothing up, so I'll get out of the frame. But this is our
going to see the door.
This is our view from our window right now. If you can see, so you see, it's the restaurant.
Yes.
And a pool. So this was the Versace pool. Everything is original. All the marble, all the flooring, and the pool is original. And it's open, so there's no cover on it. I mean, they have a cover that they can put on it during the day to keep the sun out. But other than that, it's open.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? So I'm going to try to take you upstairs a little bit.
Okay.
See if I can go out of here.
So tell us why you going. So that's the bedroom. That's where it all goes down. Okay.
Well, go down for us. This is one of the suites. This is one of, I believe, 4 suites. Okay, so I'm gonna go out here.
So for those of y'all who just tuning in, Franchella and her husband Tony are in Miami, Florida. They're staying at the Versace Mansion in celebration of Tony's, his 50th, but last year was his 50th, but they're celebrating it now because of the COVID. They had to delay it. So she's giving us a little tour.
Yes. So here is the middle entrance.
Okay.
If you can see down below,
I can. Is that a part of the restaurant as
this
well?
is also I think what they did was they moved some of the restaurant inside as well. So
Okay.
this cover is probably usually open so you get a lot of sunshine in. You see the
Right.
cover up
I
top, the
do.
roof.
I
So
do.
so it's real. So I want to go downstairs with all the people because if you can see, I have on my lounging wear because we were just chilling for a minute. But I'm going to go upstairs. So I don't know if you can see the stairway. You see all of the
Yeah.
tile
Yes.
and the columns. All this is original.
Wow.
This is all from the original of Versace's mansion. So let me go
Wow.
upstairs. I'm going a little fast. I'm gonna go upstairs, which is nice because it's like one of their decks. You can go out. They don't have any furniture or nothing up here right now,
Oh,
but
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
but you can see the beach. Can you see the beach?
Of course, I can. I see buildings, but
You see you don't see the beach right here? Am I pointing to it?
look, I would have to zoom all the way in, but
Oh,
I see. Oh
you
yeah,
see the
yeah, yeah.
palm trees?
I see the trees. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
You see the palm trees, and so
I do.
there's the pool and the restaurant again down
Wow,
below. So you
that
can
is
stand up
beautiful.
here and see all of Miami. I'm sure a
Wow.
lot of these buildings probably really wasn't here when he was here, but it's pretty cool. It's nice
I
that
see.
they try to keep this and maintain this. But
Right.
everything besides the furniture, as I was told, is original. Like all the flooring, the walls, the mirrors, like everything is original.
Wow. Like I thought they just opened it up as a museum. I didn't know they actually opened it up as a hotel as well.
Yeah, so it's a hotel. It only has, I believe, 4 or 5 suites. And
Oh,
I'm not even sure. I needed to ask him. I'm sure. I know the one we're in was not his main suite. That one is like super huge with the whole living room and everything set up. I wish I can go in and see every single room, but we have access to the entire mansion. We have dinner at 9 o'clock. So we'll be down there in front of the pool having our dinner at 9 o'clock. We're about to get dressed not in about another hour.
right.
So yeah, so it's been interesting. Um, I'm enjoying. Tony's enjoying himself, and
Good.
you know, this is like I said, is a redo, a remake of the birthday celebration that was supposed to happen due to COVID. So we finally got here. I think I like canceled twice on them because of the COVID, but now we're here. So I'm excited.
And you're
Excited.
vaccinated, so you feel comfortable. You're
Um,
vaccinated, I was saying, so you feel
yeah.
a little bit more
Yes.
comfortable.
Yep.
Good.
Because we're vaccinated, fully vaccinated. We both are. I feel more comfortable with um, being around people. Of course, we're still social distancing and we're
Good.
still
Big
wearing our masks.
Tony,
Hey, L baby, what's going on?
happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
So you guys see, we just went. We walked on South Beach, and we went to this restaurant called Bacon Bitch. And when
Oh
I
Lord,
tell you, hilarious, it was just hilarious. So that was just like the start
You
of
gotta check it out.
yeah.
is it a breakfast spot?
It's a breakfast spot. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a breakfast spot, and you know, you get to say the word freely. So if you ever wanted to call anybody else that and you really couldn't, you could go there and take it out on everybody else.
And they love it. They asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. So he's been practicing all week. So he gave it to him. Trust and believe. He gave it to him.
They had a ball. I turned them right up.
Yeah, he sure did. So,
so aren't y'all two going to be celebrating well, I know we do have some guests coming on the show as well, but our friend Chella did want to pop in, so she's entrusting me on handling this for the first time myself, and of course my computer is acting crazy, but that's what technology
that's okay.
But you got it.
We made it happen. It's on my cell phone, so we gonna get it working. So I don't want to keep y'all too long, but I'm glad you popped on and showed us a little bit of the Versace Mansion. I want y'all to enjoy each other as
we will. Yes, we will. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for holding the Real Recognize Real Talk radio show down. I have all the faith in the world that you're going to be fabulous as usual. So, shout out to your guests. I'm sure they're probably waiting in the queue now, waiting for me to get off.
Stay on standby, just in case. Stay on standby. Because I'm like, I did see Joy. Joy was in the queue, but now I don't see her. When you at the guest bottom, shouldn't it be like a star or something lit up? Or
well, you'll see her.
But from my phone, it might be a little different. So let me see.
Right,
okay, still in the queue. She's still in the queue. So Joy, I'm ready to come get you in a few minutes. She's still in the queue. Okay, good.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys have a fabulous show. Thank you, Joy, for coming on the show and being a guest. And everybody, just be blessed.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right.
Be blessed. Be safe, y'all, and have a wonderful time.
Thanks.
We will. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So we have, right now we have Joy Outlaw. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I wish I was down there in Miami with them.
Yeah, look, me too. I could do some fun in the sun,
Exactly.
So thank you for joining the Real Recognize Real Talk radio show. I am going to introduce you, but help me pronounce your first name. Not Joy, but Inanna.
That's exactly right, Anna.
Okay. So Inanna Joy, also known as Joy Outlaw, is an inspirational author, a blogger, a freelance writer, and an indie publisher who uses her creative passion to inspire others to achieve joy and personal growth. Her blog is also titled Joy Well, which offers inspiration for young entrepreneurs as well as herself. So she covers a lot of different topics. So her blog actually helps you level up on your level up journey. So she covers topics from self-love, relationships, health, fitness, art, spirituality, development of the mind, body, soul, and spirit, as well as travel and many other topics. So Joy is an author of 2 novels, Pretty Little Mess and Things Fall Together. Both are installments in the Jane Luck Adventure series, which she will discuss later in today's show. So Joy believes that the journey of life is a true adventure and evolution is one of its greatest gifts. So welcome, Joy, and thank you for joining us on today's show.
Happy to be here.
So tell us a little bit about the Jane Luck Adventure series.
Well, I started the Jane Luck Adventure series when I was in college. I think a lot of us that start out as authors, we begin with what we know, because you're told as an author to write what you know, right? So I started out a little bit curious about life as someone who was, I guess you could say, coming of age a little late. I've always been a little bit of a late bloomer, have a very religious background, went to college, kind of came into my own and wanted to tell the story of a young woman who was coming from that kind of a background, discovering her sexuality, traveling the world, and having adventures, right? So I came up with this character, Jane Luck, and she is kind of like a Black female James Bond. So she kind of comes out of her shell of fundamentalist religiosity, really. Starts dating. Yeah, she starts dating, she starts traveling the world, and she gets into some pretty harrowing situations, I should say, with some of the men that she's dating. And she realizes that she has a lot of resilience, but she also has a much stronger fighting spirit than she ever thought that she had. Over the course of the series, she ends up becoming a mercenary. And, you know, she's got a little bit of a mean streak. She's got a little bit of a killer streak. So that's really where a lot of the adventure comes in. But everything always ends on a lighthearted note, because the idea is that, you know, no matter what kind of crazy situation she finds herself in, she always finds her way back to joy. And I guess that's the overarching thing for everything that I do, is pointing back to joy.
Joy.
You know, so how crazy the journey is.
So is it inspired by some of your own personal experiences, or just what we see in the world?
I would say both, definitely. Yeah. A lot of her background is very similar to my own background in regards to the religious aspect. And also she has a father who was a drug addict and an alcoholic. She had a mother who was in an abusive relationship with the father. So that was very much, you know, an experience that I had growing up, that I had to grapple with a lot of, I guess you could say, emotional difficulties. Some, I guess you could say, also some arrested development in that regard. I think that's part of the reason why I had that experience. Yeah, you know, just trying to find your way, trying to figure out what relationships between men and women are supposed to look like, how to create healthy relationships. She gets into very first installment in the series, in Pretty Little Mess, she gets into a relationship with a man who is abusive, but she doesn't recognize it at first. She ends up, without me telling too much of the story,
you gotta get the book.
Okay. She ends up getting into a situation where she has to defend herself, and someone ends up dying as a result.
Wow.
So there she kind of discovers her mercenary streak. But, you know, other than that, I would say some of the characters are inspired by people that I've known, some of the humor and some of the dating, you know, experiences that are dotted throughout the series are experiences that I had, but it's not totally based on my life. I guess you could say it's inspired by my life.
It's quite interesting because, you know, I always say that sometimes you have to, well, not sometimes, all of the time you have to play with the cards that you're dealt in life. Like, you know, life is not always easy for everybody, but it's unfortunate that some people err on the side of wrong versus right when they come up in challenging environments. So it's just good that through it all, you are still able to find joy in the end, you know, and it's a good thing that you also inspire and encourage and motivate other people who might go through similar situations, or who may have went through similar situations, find their joy as well, because it's important to your mental health and well-being. So it's important. A lot of people get stuck in that experience so much that they find it difficult to overcome to get to the joy part of it. So I commend you for getting there, you know. And I know it's always a work in progress, and I know sometimes people may have good days and bad days because you're human, but the fact that you wanted that as opposed to the experience, you didn't want to stay there, you wanted to evolve, you know, like you said, the evolution is key.
Absolutely.
So tell us about Joywell, your blog.
Joywell is basically my way of fueling other people's evolution through joy. I like to say that I provide strictly unorthodox inspiration for your level up journey. And basically I do that through my vlog and through videos. I focus on a lot of different topics because I pull from my passions, including travel, relationships, and all the other things that you mentioned, things like gardening. Whatever I have my hands in, I just like to share that with people because that's what gives me joy. And that's my way of encouraging people to dig deep down into whatever it is that puts a smile on your face, whatever makes you happy about getting up in the morning, even though it might not always be easy to get up and deal with whatever you have to deal with. It's about finding your wisdom, your joy, your peace.
Your peace.
And also, there you go. Whatever life gives you. And I like to say that, you know, I take my wisdom wherever I can get it. The source is not always admirable on the it's not
always come with a degree or an expert.
Right.
I always say you can learn something from anybody if you're willing to learn and listen. If you're willing to learn and listen. So a lot of people say, oh, well, if you never did this, how you going to tell me? Because I got common sense. That's why.
There you go. You can learn just from observation and tell the story.
Exactly. You don't always have to live it to understand it and to actually have an opinion about the topic. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people get stuck on titles or educational background, and they say, well, or experiences. You can't tell me nothing, or you can't tell me what to do with my kids, and you don't have any children. Well, I know that I don't have any children, but I know that kids need structure. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not married, but I can tell you that, you know, the same thing you did to get your husband or wife is the same thing you need to continue to keep your relationship. Like, to me, it's not rocket science, and you can learn from anybody. So thank you for pointing it out, because I preach that all the time.
That's it. Everybody you meet knows something you don't.
Exactly.
Everybody you meet has that experience. That's
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, nobody knows everything. So there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I'm just passionate about that learning process.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I'm just passionate about that learning process.
Oh yeah. It's
not always easy to remain passionate about it, but
it's learning is an ongoing process. You know, we learn something. You can learn something from a child. You know, you learn how to communicate with them the best way that they understand what it is that you're saying. So you can learn from anybody. But anyway, so you have 2 books. So tell us about your books and how people can purchase and support what you're doing. Tell us how they can find Job Well and how they can find your books as well.
So the Joy Well, they can jump into the Joy Well. Be baptized. That's all right. They can be baptized in the waters of joyfulness and bliss by coming over to my blog, which is inanna-joy.com. So the name that you see on the screen, just with a dash in between the 2 names, .com, inannajoy.com. That's my blog. And basically, of course, you know, like you said, I refer to that as the Joy Well, because when you jump in, you can find your joy, and that can help lead you through the process of living your purpose. My books are on Amazon. However, right now I am in the process of rebranding. So I have a graphic designer that's working on new covers for me, and I'm going to be re-releasing them again soon. So if you follow my website, if you follow my blog, then you'll get updates on when all of that will be available, which should be by the summer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned earlier on that what inspired you to start writing is to write what you love. So was that poetry? Was that the starting point?
You know what? I actually started out with prose and journaling. I did a little bit of poetry and a little bit of songwriting, but it started with journal entries for me, and that turned into prose, you know, from making stories based on the characters and the struggles and some of the joys too that I recorded in my journals.
Now, did you find it as you began to write some of your life experiences and some of the experiences that you witnessed, did you find it difficult? Because I know oftentimes it brings up those memories again. So some people, you know, they want to heal, but then when they go through the healing process, sometimes there's triggers, and so it kind of impedes the healing process. So talk a little bit about the writing process and how people can overcome. Like, everybody has a story, and most stories are meant to be heard and shared, because your story can help so many different people. So tell us a little bit about how others who might have stories and they find it difficult to write about because it's triggering up emotions. And you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to say this real quick, because what you said was key right there, that everybody's story is valuable. Everybody's story can help somebody. It's a testimony. Even if you don't feel like you've overcome, sometimes we spend a lifetime in the process of overcoming, and along that journey, we can help others. So I would say, with writing both these two books, where I wove in my story into Jane Luck's background, probably the most difficult thing was sharing the pain that I had carried about my experience with my father in a novel that was going to be seen, you know, by the world, and worrying about how he would receive that. Because at that particular point in my life, I was in my early 20s. I had not lived with my father for maybe about a decade, and he was still dealing with addiction, but he was just coming to a place where he was starting to mature and starting to face the reality of the effect that he had on his family when I was growing up. And it was a blessing for me to write that story at that time, because after I wrote the first book in the series, Pretty Little Mess, he came to me and apologized for the first time for the things that he did, you know, to my mom, and during the relationship that we witnessed. It was such a powerful experience. And I have to say, what helped me share those painful stories and those painful memories was prayer, for one, because I'm not necessarily a religious person, but I do believe in the power of prayer. I have rode so many waves of life on the power of prayer, so I can't deny it. So that helped get me through, but also in conjunction with prayer, being willing to face those things, being willing to put it down on paper. Sometimes, you know, some things you're not ready to share with others. You can't always share everything with others. You kind of have to guard your heart. You have to guard your story until it's time to tell the testimony. But if you're able to face it yourself, if you can just get something down on paper without worrying about how it sounds, without worrying about, oh, I want to try to sell this, because it wasn't my intention to sell a book when I first started writing. It was a form of therapy for me. And once I got it down, it was almost like a form of 2020. You know, they say 2020 is hindsight. It was as if I was standing outside of myself and I was able to see the story from a different perspective, and kind of I was able to deal with the pain, a little bit of detachment, and say, okay, well, my dad wasn't able to be the dad that maybe I wanted or needed him to be, because he didn't get what he needed. You know, I was able to see my mom. She wasn't able to leave the situation the way I might have wanted her to, because she, you know, was in a codependent attachment with him. I was able to understand things by just getting it down on paper and seeing it from the outside. So I would encourage people, even if you're not at a place where you can tell anybody, writing it down, facing it yourself, it purges you.
Yeah.
You know,
if you don't, it manifests itself in some way, you know, whether it is self-sabotaging behaviors. Like, you have to get it out, because it's in there. So what's in you has to eventually come out in some way. Well, that's why they say hurt people, because you haven't dealt with the hurt yourself, and now you're projecting it onto somebody else. And so healing is important, and I commend you for taking on that feat, because I know it probably wasn't an easy one in the beginning, but you did it, and you found your joy, and you're sharing that joy with other people to help them find theirs as well. So that is such a blessing. That, to me, that's what life is all about. It's about helping keep helping people navigate through this thing called life, because it's not always an easy thing to do.
That's right.
So tell us how they can follow you on social media, and tell us how they can follow you again on social media so that we can bring in our next guest, Nanette.
No problem. Thank you. So my Instagram is Inanna Joy. Same way you see my name on the screen here, or in the in the details for the video, Inanna Joy on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube. So that channel is also Inanna Joy. So that name is consistent throughout. If you look for me on those platforms, you'll find me there.
Inanna Joy. Thank you so much, Inanna, and many blessings to you and much success as well. So thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Be blessed.
Be blessed as well. So now I'm going to bring in another author. So bear with me, because again, I'm telling you that this is my first time manning the fort. Okay, so let's see. There we are. Hi, good evening, Nanette Buchanan. How are you? So your speaker might be, your microphone might be on mute. So give me a second. Let me see.
There we go.
There it is. Okay. There we are. Okay. So now hold on one second. I'm going to try to see if I can change this layout here. Uh-oh, I did something. I took myself out. Hold on. Oh, Lord have mercy. I shouldn't have never tried to be fancy. Wait a minute. I got to bring myself back in. I took myself out of the room. So bear with me, y'all. I hope I don't move. So remove from the stream. Hold on. Bear with me a second. I knew I wasn't going to get through this night without a snafu.
I don't want me to be in, do you?
Say that again. Look.
Not my chance to jump back in. Right quick.
You want to sing or something? What?
I don't know. I'm not taking in that time.
Because the only button that, okay, here it is. All right. I'm trying to figure this out. Franchella, I told you be on standby. So hold on. Okay, that's me. All right. So now I want to. So I'm back, but now I have to try to bring in Nanette again. So the only option is saying is remove her from the stream. So I don't want to remove Nanette. Nanette, bear with me. I'm sorry. I might have to come in closer. I know y'all like. Oh,
you want me to leave and come back?
Yeah. Can you please?
All right, let me try that.
Log out and log back in again. I'm sorry. Yeah. So y'all got to see my little bottoms. So anyway, while we're waiting, so thank you for your patience. I didn't mention the hood news earlier because I wanted Franchella to pop on and show us the Versace mansion and say happy birthday to Tony, her husband. But a lot of things are going on in the news right now. As you know, DMX, we lost a great hip hop artist, DMX. So condolences go out to him and his family and his children as well. So condolences go out to DMX. That was a tough one to swallow. We also lost a young man yesterday by the name of Dwayne Wright, and we lost him to gun violence. Another shooting by the police department in Minnesota. So condolences go out to his family as well. Another, we lost a young lady and her relative, the Braxton family. So I want to make sure that I also say, there it is. Thank you. I also want to make sure that I say my condolences to the Braxton family as well. So we have to do something about this gun violence that's plaguing the city of Philadelphia, and this gun violence that's just plaguing the world. Like, we can't just say, stop the guns, no more guns, and do nothing about it. So you have to contact your legislative officers, your council people, so that they can be a part of that conversation, because it's getting out of hand. So thank you for your patience, Nanette. We are going to get right into the introduction. Right now, we have Nanette M. Buchanan, who is a native of Newark, New Jersey, now residing in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She began writing as a poet and has written 3 volumes of poetry, 4 unpublished children's books, and one of which is published, one published children's book, I should say, and 12 published novels. So she's an accomplished author. She teasingly refers to her novels as reality fiction. Nanette prefers genres in like woman's fiction and crime fiction. Her novels include a combination of both, with a twist of suspense, mystery, and drama. Nanette is also a motivational and transformational speaker and the CEO of her company, iPen Visions LLC, which has many of her projects, which hosts many of her projects, I should say. She also launched the iPen magazine, which is a quarterly magazine, and she also has a podcast called the iPen Podcast. Let's talk about it. So it's iPen Podcast, Let's Talk About It, which streams weekly. It is her goal to produce plays and feature her poems as well as an adaptation of her novels on the big screen. This diverse author is available for interview signings as well as speaking engagements. So welcome, Nanette. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you have published several books. So you've been writing for quite a while. So you say that you started out writing poetry. So can you give us a kind of an idea of what your writing process looks like?
Well, I write poems whenever I'm in the mood. You know, poems are a mood thing, a vibe thing. So whenever I'm in the mood, I can write a poem and think of something and it spurs a thought and poems come up. So poetry was kind of my, I guess my way of releasing, just releasing thoughts, releasing moods, emotions, sometimes things that you don't want to say to somebody else, you could put it on a pad and pen and just write it. So I began collecting them, and I just collected them and didn't do much with them because it was more like more similar to a journal,
Right,
you know,
right.
similar to a journal, but not so much to the point where I wanted to reflect back on anything, just to have that mood, to be in that mood. I went from there to writing children's stories. I love children's stories. I really, really, really should do more of them because I just love the fantasy. I love children, the innocence of children and them being able to relate to things that we don't,
Right,
seeing things that we sometimes overlook. So I
right.
love the fables and the stories and the fairy tales and the mystery that lies behind each of them. So I started writing children's stories and never thought about publishing them because I can't draw. So I thought about
So
it and
you
said
hear these
I,
illustrators, all of these
I,
illustrators out
I didn't
there.
even I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about, okay, just get an illustrator. Nah, I can't draw, so we'll just put these to the side. And then in 2007, there was a situation in my family that we really looked at it and said, wow, this could be a book. Nobody would believe that this is going on. Nobody would believe that this happened. We need to really think about writing it. And my husband was really pushing for it. It was a situation in his family with him. And he
From the
said, well,
lens of,
what? Hmm?
from the lens of a child, or
No, from an adult, a, a,
okay.
a good and grown adult. Um, I had been working 10 years with a woman that we found out she was his sister. And
Wow.
everybody in the family still wanted to cover it. They didn't want it told. They didn't want anybody to know, but everybody was grown. Good and grown, So the question was, well, what's the secret? Why? You know. So I took that and I didn't want, when you get stories and especially when you're talking about family or you talk even in the news now, you get stories and you get one half, you get a piece, you get
Mhm.
somebody's thought, what somebody assumed, how somebody felt, and that becomes the story. but it also
Right.
becomes the rumor and the gossip and it becomes the challenge for everybody that's involved to try to untangle it, to tell the
Exactly.
truth and get the truth out. So I just decided, rather than to put names and put people in with what they said and what they didn't say and what they did and what they didn't do, how about if we just change the characters and leave the storyline the same?
Right. All
And put
things.
it out there for people to say, well, what if? Well, if I could answer the questions, what if, in the book, and I could answer the questions why, and I could answer and tangle it all up the way we would tangle it in rumor, it makes for a good read. So it became Family Secrets, Lies, and Alibis.
Wow.
And that became now it's a actual saga, because it's 3 books to it, and people are asking for the 4th book. But the last 2 books are really just a continuation of the story that was made up. It's not the story that inspired the initial book.
Right. And unfortunately, back in the day, that happened a lot. This is
Exactly.
right down the street.
Exactly.
Had a whole nother family that people didn't know
And
about.
people didn't even know. And, the wife doesn't know, the husband doesn't know, or the children don't know. Somebody in the family is wondering, but then you got the grandmother, the aunt, a cousin that do know, somebody that does know. And there really was, to us, we couldn't figure out the reason. And that was the question. And all of those questions were put into the book. My husband kept asking, well, why would my dad even, cover this? It was no reason to cover it. It wasn't adultery. It wasn't anything like that. Why would it have to be covered? He, him and his mother had broken up. And, why not say, well, here, you have a sister,
Right.
Just so happened that she was looking for a family. She just wanted to know who her brothers were, and she was going by the last name. So she decided to start at the job with me to see if, they were related, and they were.
Wow. How ironic is that? Wow.
So from that, I was like, I'm done with novels. This is crazy, because you have to do the research. You have to look into it. How would a family do this? What were some of the responses of some of the other families that went through this? Did they have chaos and confusion? And of course they do. Of course they do. That's where the drama comes in. The suspense, the anger, the being upset, you cheated on me. No, I didn't, that kind of thing. So to make the twists and turns, I was like, this is too much work. This is not poetry. And it's definitely not a children's story. So I was done. I was done. And then on top of it, I had to split it into 2 parts, because all the questions made it a long read. And I split it into 2 parts, and I put the questions about the dad in the second part. Like, why would my father do this? So I put that in the second part.
Did you ever come around to answering that question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I answered the question, but then I had entwined the children so much in their dirt and secrets and gossip and everything else that it spewed off into a whole nother book.
Wow.
And that's what the audience was asking. Well, what happened to the Mintz family? What are they doing? And I'm like, they're done. No, they can't. So I wound up writing and releasing the 3rd book. I released Family Secrets in 2007, Different Kind of Love in 2009, and I didn't release Duplicity until last year. So it was, it was a thing of, like I said, I didn't want to keep going with the same characters, but it just seemed like those characters really would speak out, like, I want to get at her, or I want to do this. And and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So
that's good writing. When you leave people wanting to know more or wanting more.
Right.
It's good writing.
Exactly. So. Exactly. And after the second book, I was done. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'll go back to poetry and children's stories. And my husband was like, no, when you think of the realities that people go through and what they have to put up with, there are other stories that
Oh,
can be
wow.
told.
Mhm.
Make up the same way. Just
Yeah,
take the story and make up the characters.
exactly.
So as of today's date, I have 12 of those type novels. My 13th book that I just released is a survivor's guide, because I went through cancer. So I did a survivor's guide on that.
Oh,
But
that's
all the others are novels. All the others are fictions and novels.
wow. So now, ooh, I'm still caught up in the story. Like, oh, I gotta get it. I gotta get
Well,
it. I gotta.
if you think about it, the question always becomes, when you first hear someone's story, you always go, wow. You know,
Mm,
if it's a good story, you go, wow.
right.
Then you sit in your own story, and it becomes, have I ever?
Right.
Then then it becomes, I remember when so and so did that.
Exactly.
And then it becomes, well, what if? You know,
Yeah.
so there's so many questions that
Questions.
evolve
Hmm.
around just one title or one situation, that I just go from situation to situation. I take it sometimes from the news, sometimes I take it
I was
from
ready to say
what
that.
people talk about, I take it from ideas that I have, questions that
Mhm.
I have.
Mhm.
I'm getting ready to write my next murder mystery. Well, not a murder mystery, but detective. I have a detective series that I started because that's
What's
my
the,
passion. I like crime and mystery.
what's the
But
name? What's the name of it?
I decided to do it on Zip Code and Justice,
Okay. Wow. Oh,
because
yes.
right.
Because, yep, yep. The gentrification and
Exactly. Because
yeah.
right now, that's what we're looking at. If you look at the zip codes, check out the zip codes, where the people are living. Check out where the police stations are. Check out all of that. And my character is a detective, but he's been ridiculed inside the police department for being Black.
Wow.
So my first novel with Damian Tyson, who's the detective, was The Perfect Side Piece. And in The Perfect Side Piece, that of course is something that's an oxymoron, because no one is the perfect side piece.
And the only person who thinks they are is the side piece.
Or you get the side piece that doesn't know she is the side piece.
Oh, touche.
and and, and that's the twist, that this woman has no idea that every time she winds up loving someone, she winds up being the side piece. So now
Mm.
she's a little upset about it.
Now
And
with that in mind, you know how people say you attract what you are. Do you
exactly.
do you but
Exactly.
do you I was gonna say, do you always believe that to be true?
I don't always believe it to be true, but it depends on the personality. Now, the personality that this woman has is one that she can attract anybody, and she can dump them when she wants to.
Right,
So why not her be the one that gets dumped?
right. So she can see how it feels, now.
And that's what's been going on with her dating. That these guys are dating her for whatever they can get, and
Right,
they feel the same way about her that she feels about them.
right. Wow.
So it takes a twist off the whole. Yeah, and like I said, this particular detective, because he has been unveiling some of the unscrupulous stuff that's going on inside the department, they
Mhm.
threw him a cold case unit. So all he's supposed to be delving into are cases that they couldn't solve.
Right.
And now they're a little upset that he's beginning to
Dig-
solve these cases. He's digging.
And he's uncovering stuff that they want to keep hidden. Sound like to me. I ain't even really
Zip code injustice.
exactly.
Zip code injustice. Yes. So
So
now this is one that's going to hit that type of area, where he's wondering, how come all of this stuff is in this one area, or how come this is going on. So I'm getting ready to tackle that one. That's going to be my next one.
So a lot of your stories seem so interesting, like something that I could see on television, something I
Mm-hmm.
could see in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
something like a television series. Do you,
Mm-hmm.
I know that you said that's one of your goals is to eventually get it on the big screen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Are you like working towards that? Because it sounds like to me
Yes.
you would be an excellent screenwriter.
Well, I wanted to do that, be the
Mhm.
screenwriter, but see, that's taking on something else. I'm not going to do that. I actually hired a screenwriter.
Ah,
So once we get done, we'll be pushing Family Secrets, Lies, and Alibis.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah, we're going to
awesome.
be pushing that. But like I said, with the books that I have and the productions that I want to see, I'm thinking the same way you're thinking, that there's a lot of them, because we don't always want to see the we don't always want to see the typical Black movies. And I don't want to say that in a negative, but
I
I mean,
understand.
we got to be a little diverse when we talk about because our lives are diverse.
Because we are diverse. Exactly.
Exactly, exactly. So I'd much rather see films that depict things that we pick at and try to figure out ourselves. You
Mhm.
know, um, why did the woman take the pills thinking that was going to solve her problems? You
Right.
know,
Right.
I have that book, Scattered Pieces. What about the guy that's on the DL and he has a family, but everybody's applauding the fact that he came out, but his wife and children aren't too happy about
Or
it? You
devastated, and
know,
nobody wants to have that conversation.
exactly. So I have different books that cover different topics, and they cover those topics for that reason.
One of the topics that I'm so interested in, and I just wish somebody covered it covers it because I know I'm not going to, but it's the homeless crisis.
Yes,
Like I
yes,
really want to know their story. Like,
yes.
how did you get here? Like, who are you, and how did you get here?
And not
Like,
only that, how are you comfortable where you are? With some of the
well,
programs and some of the things that people say are out there,
right.
working prior to going into corrections and then retiring and everything,
Mhm.
we had people that would actually leave corrections, leave a institution, be free after doing their little bit of time, and they
Mhm.
go out and commit a crime and be right back, you
Come
know.
back. I've
And
heard people say they don't have anywhere to go,
And
so
and
they
not only that, they don't want to go to the programs. They're too proud to go to the programs. They're too proud to go ask for the help that's being, might be able to assist them. Some of them have mental problems and mental health plays into it, where they just don't know. Some of them are addiction problems and they have problems. Some of them have been separated from their children or their families for a temporary moment, and it's caused such a separation that they can't even get back in with the family,
right.
so there's many levels of their reasons why, or the questions why, but I definitely will be tackling one of those as an issue, and those are the type of issues that I do tackle. Like I said, I wrote a short story for Ebony in reference to the suicide prevention, because I just, in teaching suicide awareness, being an instructor and teaching and speaking on suicide awareness and the different perils that people go through, it's not always that they want that. Sometimes they just want someone to stop them. And,
Exactly. The
and
cry
it's a
most
cry for help. And in this particular book, the woman is at wit's end, and she doesn't take the pills to commit suicide. Her anxiety will not allow her to sleep,
wow.
and she just keeps taking doses and doses of her medication. And there's so many people that overdose and succumb to the fact of their own medicine. It's not even that they take the medicine to kill themselves, it's the fact that they become addicted and then have a problem. But when she
Wow.
wakes up in the hospital, her whole world is being turned upside down. The husband that left her is saying he's coming back and taking over. Someone else is telling her they're going to take her kids and put them in, family services, and it's just all kind of things that's going on with her, and she has to depend on her strength and her faith to bring her
Wow.
through. So that's where that book is.
You're such a creative writer. Like as you're telling the story, I'm seeing the visions. Like I'm seeing, it's like you're such a creative writer, and it's just
And it's funny because the same way you see it is the same way I see it. because in doing that, like I said, it was a short story for one of those Ebony short story contests or whatever.
Right.
And it kept knocking at me. You didn't finish the story. She didn't die. You didn't complete the story. You got to go back and finish it. So I wound up writing the entire book. But
and what's the name of that?
Scattered Pieces. Scattered Pieces. Mm-hmm.
So how can people find your books? Like, how can they purchase your books? Where?
Of course, Amazon and all the other platforms, any Target online, Walmart online, any of those has them. But be nice to me. Come to my website.
I know that's right.
www.nanettembuchanan.com. That's where my books are. And you can come there. It'll take you right to checkout. That is easy to check out with. I also have something that's a little unique on my page because the synopsis is there, and you can either read the synopsis or you can listen to me tell you the synopsis. So the synopsis is there. So I think that people get a better idea when they hear it, you know, and they can hear it. So that was something unique that was put on my page, and you enjoy it that way.
So well, you have a famous cousin.
Yes, I do.
I want to mention that your cousin is John Amos, who everybody may know him as the father on the hit show Good Times. So I just wanted to just say he's amazing. He is amazing, just as you are as well. So I mean, I'm like in awe of everything that you do. So it's like so refreshing to young writers coming up and at the beginning stages of figuring out what to write and how to write it. So before we leave the show today, I just want you to give some encouragement and inspiration to young writers who are struggling with maybe writer's block or just not really sure where to start and how to get started. What advice would you give?
Well, the first thing is put pen to pad. I started in college. I had a music class that was, to me, secondary because I went to a music school. I went to a music high school. And when I went to college, they gave me the same class over. Perfect A, easy way to make an A. But the most boring thing to do is to sit there and go through lessons that you already knew. Right. So I wound up listening to music or listening to the instructor and taking words that the instructor would say and then just rhyming with those words or letting those words go through my pen. So for anybody that's writing, I would say just put pen to pad. Sometimes we think too hard. You know, we put a whole lot of thought into a whole lot of nothing. You know, if you just let your talent flow, you know, it's like I also was an athlete in high school, and my coach used to say all the time, stop forcing the shot when you're playing basketball. Just shoot it.
Yes, that's right.
You know, stop forcing it. Just make it do what it do. Yeah. You know, and if you do that, you can let it flow. You can always go back and change it.
You will.
You know, you can always go back and correct what you think are mistakes, or and to say something funny to you, I don't memorize my poems. If you asked me to recite a poem, I couldn't do it. And the reason I couldn't do it is because I've written that poetry from 1970s all the way to now.
Wow.
My opinion about something that went on in the 70s may not be my opinion now. So when I go to memorize it, I may speak in the voice of today and not the thoughts of yesterday.
Right.
And the thoughts of yesterday may very well be what you need.
Exactly.
So I try not to memorize too much of my poetry because that's heartfelt from that moment in time. So I leave it that way. But now, as far as the novels are concerned, you got to go back and do those edits. You got to go back and learn the verbiage. You got to go back and make your characters speak the way that they speak. I have a book called Gospel Line, and the people are real country. real backwood country, to the point where the editor asked me, "Do you want me to fix all of these mistakes?" And I was like, "No, that's them talking. That's the way they talk."
Exactly.
And if you want thee, thou, though, and all of that in there, leave it in there, but make your narration be that it can carry the reader as a reader. You know, you want to make sure of those things. The other thing you want to do is stop putting it to the side and starting something else. Because then you got all of these pieces of projects.
And you ain't doing nothing. You ain't finishing none of them.
None of them. And the one that's giving you your attention are the one that you're working on today.
Right.
But you know, tomorrow you might not even go back to that. You might start something else.
Exactly.
So stop putting it to the side. Even if you just pick it up one day and just read it again. Sometimes that's an inspiration to yourself. Just pick it up and read it again. Read what you wrote. You know, let yourself go back into that mode, go back into that feeling, what you thought at that particular time. You have to, you have to find your way of writing and what your niche is, but stop putting those projects to the back burner.
Right.
Keep them fresh in your mind. Keep them open. But one thing I did want to say is I do have a new book. Like I said, it's not even a book. It's really a little hand guide. I'm giving it out during my webinar on the 26th. But tell
us about it as we come to a close of the show. But tell us about your webinar and your guide.
The webinar is 2020 After the Detour. Okay. And the reason why myself and my podcast host that I do my podcast with, the reason why we named it that is because 2020 was heck on everybody. Yeah. So 2021, we want to get into, so after this detour, let's not call it a block. Let's not call it, the end. Let's not do that. Let's just call it a detour. After that detour, where are you?
Right.
Where are you personally? Where are you professionally? Some people have had to turn their hobbies into their jobs. They've now had to turn, they no longer have a job. They have a hobby that they've now made into a business. So we want to talk about those things. And in doing that, one of the things that I harp on.
How can people find out about it? Like through your website?
It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook under the events. They can go to Facebook events and it's there. They can register there. We have a short form that we ask everybody to fill out and then just click on to the link to get your ticket. And the cost is $25. But with that, you get a coaching session with my partner, Joanne, who's a coach. She will give a coaching session to those that want. And I give out my book, which is Mindset, Managing Your Madness. And in Managing Your Madness, what it's about is it's not the typical novel. What it is it's showing you that from morning stress, you saying, I got to have that cup of coffee, to at night not being able to sleep. Some of that is just your madness. Right. And if we can get a control on our madness, we can manage a little bit better. And I had to learn that while I was going through my transformation through cancer. I had to learn that some of this that you're going through is not so much that you're sick with cancer. It's the fact that you're in your mind. It's in your mind.
Yeah.
You're going through some things that you could put to the side. And I didn't realize it until the lady at the cancer center said to me, she said, you don't look the same today. Are you okay? And I said, no, I don't have time for this. I need to get this over with because this is not what I retired to. And she immediately asked me, did I want a social worker? And I didn't think of it at that time that was the same verbiage that someone would use if they no longer wanted to go through treatments. And I said, no, I don't need anybody. I need to get this radiation done so I can get back home because I'm in the middle of writing a book, but I didn't think about it that way. So if it hadn't been for me having other directions and other things that I set my mind to, I might have succumbed to some of that depressive states, and some of those other things. So I really want people to check out that book because I think that it could help a lot of us with minor issues This is
Yeah.
not a medical guide. It's not a guide about cancer. It's a guide about us talking about, if I don't have my coffee, I ain't right in the morning. Well, something ain't right with you if your coffee is the only thing that gets you right.
If you need, exactly, if you need coffee every day to function, something ain't right.
Something ain't right. And then it could be that you, and the thing about it, we don't think about it that way. We think about it as a joke, but it could be that the caffeine has now caused an addiction in our system and
Right.
it's causing other problems.
And
That may
it
be
goes beyond coffee though, because some people have shopping addictions, and sometimes
exactly. So
we deal with different things in different ways, not realizing that there's a problem. There's an
there's a
underlying
problem. There's like
problem.
road rage. Like road
Oh,
rage.
oh
You,
yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
how crazy could you get with road rage? You know,
Exactly.
now you go home and you yelling at your kids, you yelling at your husband, you yelling at everybody. What is wrong with you? You know, and then you
Yeah.
wondering
But
why your blood
we're a
pressure
little
is up.
over. We're a little over time, so thank everybody for still sticking in there with us. We could go all
Yes,
day
thank
with
you.
Nanette. She is amazing. So make sure that you check out her book, check out her podcast, check out her magazine. Go to her website, iPen. Go ahead. Tell us
My
tell us
website,
yeah, tell us
www.nanetmbuchanan.com is the
okay,
website. Mhm.
iPen. So make sure that you go onto the Facebook events and find her event, because it's something that you will definitely benefit from. So thank you so much blessings and much success to you as well.
Thank
Continue
you.
success,
Thank
and
you.
I look
And
forward to seeing. Say that
you, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Okay, all right. Look, I I receive it. I receive it in the name of Jesus. So I'm looking forward to seeing your your books and your novels on the screen.
Thank
I know
you.
that it's
Thank
going to
you.
be there. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing
Thank you
what you're
so
doing.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
And
evening.
you too.
All
So now
right. Bye-bye.
not log myself out again. So I'm just gonna thank y'all for bearing with me, and I got through this evening all by myself. Shout out again to Franchella and Tony and MIA. Make sure y'all get down to that beach. Because I know y'all probably still watching, but no, I think y'all at dinner or almost at dinner. So anyway, thank everybody for tuning in to the Real Recognize Real Talk Radio show, sponsored by Philly Hot Radio. So we come on every second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So before I go, I want to shout out a couple brothers who shared their music with me. So Brother Marcus has a new album coming out. He has a new music coming out. It's called God's Got It. And yes, he does. So make sure you check out Brother Marcus's music, God's Got It. Make sure you check out 8215, Crazy For You. Make sure you check out That's Gino. He has new music as well. He also has a clothing line called Kissing Fire Clothing. So make sure you support him as well, kissingfire.com. Our Papers and Ace Porter out of New York, they also have music out. So you can support all of these people on all music platforms. So their music is out there. So support Brother Marcus, 8215, that's Gino, Al Papers, Ace Porter, Louis Mack, and a bunch of different artists that are out there doing their thing as indie artists. So we also have to I have to talk about a book signing that I have coming up May the 1st. It's going to be at Urban Bodywork Showroom on 66 and Broad Street. So come out. I will be out there with several other authors. It's a free event, free food, live music from one of the legendary. I'll tell you who it is. I wasn't telling people, but it's I Saw You and Him Walking in the Rain. I'm not a singer, but I do sing at karaoke. But shout out to the legendary Orange Juice Jones, who will be performing at the book signing May the 1st, Urban Bodywork. So make sure y'all come out. Peace and blessings to all of you. Stay safe and put the guns down and pick these up. pick these up and put the guns down. Don't pick these up. I'm sorry. Don't pick these up. But if you want to pick up a gun, I'd rather you pick these up. Peace and blessings to all of you. Our prayers and condolences go out to everyone who's lost a loved one. So I'm signing out. Peace and blessings. Until we meet again.